You open the glossy brochure for the latest driver, the one that promises 17 extra yards, a forged titanium face, and a sound engineer's claim will alter your perception of solid contact. The price tag sits at $659. You hesitate for 2 seconds, then remind yourself it's the last piece you need. You've watched the launch event, read the MyGolf Spy data that claims minor forgiveness improvements, and told yourself this is the upgrade that finally changes your score. Then, a quiet whisper. Didn't you buy almost the exact same driver, different year, different paint, just 13 months ago? You did. And that whisper is the starting point for everything we're about to uncover. The driver you bought last year had a proprietary face cup, an adjustable hosel, and a carbon crown that saved 3 grams of weight. The one before that had a thinner face, a different weight track, and a sound dampening insert. The one before that also claimed to be the most forgiving ever. The numbers changed. The core geometry barely moved. The launch monitor data you studied in the Golf Digest hot list showed a difference of about 2 miles per hour in ball speed between the current model and the one you already own. That's about 4 yards of carry in perfect conditions. The real reason driver models get released every year has nothing to do with making you play better. If that single sentence triggered something, a memory of a launch monitor session that didn't match the ad, a receipt you buried in your email, then you already see the first seam. Subscribe to keep pulling at the thread. Every video on this channel is built from the same kind of evidence you just heard. And in the comments, take a guess. How many new drivers have you bought in the last 5 years? Drop the number. See if the pattern holds for you the same way it does for the industry's bottom line. The evidence lies in the financial filings, the patent expiration schedules, the inventory cycles, and the retail floor plan negotiations that happen 18 months before you ever see a single club on the rack. This is the fee forensic you never knew you needed, the unwrapping of an entire industry designed to sell you a new driver annually, regardless of whether the technology changed or not. Here's the first layer. Pull out your current driver. Look at the serial number on the hosel. If your driver was manufactured between mid-2022 and late 23, it contains a face cup structure that was first patented in 2016. That patent lasted 20 years. It doesn't expire until 2036. But the club in your hands is already 2 generations old because the marketing team needed a story for this year's product cycle. And a feature from a decade ago, slightly reshaped, slightly lighter, slightly cheaper to produce, became the breakthrough innovation for this season's launch. The club companies didn't redesign the face, they redistributed the cost. Every year, the research and development budget gets divided between 2 outputs: genuine engineering improvements, which take 3 to 5 years to bring to market, and cosmetic refreshes, which take about 11 months. The cosmetic refreshes account for roughly 70% of new product releases. That means 7 out of every 10 new drivers you see in the Pro Shop are not technically superior to the model on the shelf below them. They are visually different, sonically tuned to sound more solid, and priced $30 to $40 higher than the previous year's launch price. And here's the part that cuts the deepest. When you trade in last year's driver for this year's model, that trade-in value drops by an average of 47% within 12 months. A club you spent $599 on now nets you about $280 if you trade it immediately after buying the new one. That $280 is not lost because your club depreciated naturally. It's lost because the industry engineered a depreciation schedule that pushes you into a perpetual upgrade cycle. The launch cycle is not about innovation. It is about creating a market for next year's club by systematically devaluing the club you already own. Now pause and think about the retail floor plan. Walk into any major golf retailer and look at the driver wall. You'll see the current year's model at eye level, priced between $600 and $700. Below it, last year's model sits with a $300 price tag. That gap is intentional. The presence of a discounted previous model acts as an anchor that makes the new model feel urgent, buy now or pay the same price next year for a downgraded version. But the previous model was not a downgrade. It was, in many cases, nearly identical. In 2023, Golf Laboratories independently tested the 3 most popular driver models from Callaway, TaylorMade, and Titleist against their immediate predecessors. The ball speed difference averaged 1.3 miles per hour across the entire test. That's less than the margin of error in the swing robot's repeatability. The difference in forgiveness, measured by dispersion on off-center hits, was within 3%. The only statistically significant difference was the sound frequency. The new models produced a slightly lower-pitched impact sound, which test subjects associated with feel. The industry knows you buy feel. They engineered the sound, not the performance. If you're still watching, you're the kind of golfer who wants the whole truth, not just the launch video version. Subscribe, because the next breakdown digs into how the shaft market mirrors this same playbook, and you'll want that data before your next fitting. And in the comments, tell me the one driver you bought that you regret most. The model year, the reason, the feeling when you realized it wasn't what you expected. That list will tell you more than any patent filing. Here's the second layer. Open the patent databases of the 3 largest golf equipment manufacturers. Search for driver face structure and golf club crown and adjustable weight system. You'll find that the core architectures, the actual shape, the weight distribution, the face thickness profile, were filed primarily between 2011 and 2017. The patents filed after 2020 are dominated by manufacturing methods, materials sourcing, and a concept called sound tuning. Sound tuning is not performance. It is acoustic marketing. When you watch the launch video for the newest driver, the marketing team will talk about enhanced feedback, optimized impact acoustics, and tour-preferred sound profile. Those terms translate to: we changed the internal ribbing of the club head to produce a lower frequency sound at impact because we know that sound makes you perceive the hit as more solid. The ball speed did not increase. The coefficient of restitution did not change. The sound changed, and you paid $599 for the privilege of hearing a different noise. If you've ever stood on the range after buying a new driver, hit a ball that felt perfect, pure center, no vibration, and looked at the launch monitor data only to see the same distance you hit with your previous club 2 minutes earlier, you know that quiet deflation. The sound said power. The data said same. That gap between what you heard and what you got is the entire business model. The third layer is the retail inventory cycle. Golf equipment manufacturers operate on a fiscal year that ends in September. That means they ship new product to retailers in January and February, in time for the spring buying season. But the real deadline is the middle of the previous year, when buyers at Dick's Sporting Goods, PGA Tour Superstore, and Club Champion place their orders for the upcoming season. The manufacturers need a new product to sell to the retailers to justify maintaining the same floor space allocation. If they show up with the same driver as last year, the retailer says, then we'll just sell the old stock. The manufacturer needs a new SKU, a new model number, a new price point, regardless of whether the club is different, so they change the paint, they change the crown graphics, they change the weight track color, and they call it a new generation. In 2024, one major manufacturer released 3 distinct driver models across 4 months, each marketed as a tour-only or limited edition release. 2 of the 3 had the exact same face thickness, verified by independent X-ray analysis published by TXG, the same center of gravity location, and the same moment of inertia. The only difference was the paint scheme and the stock shaft offering. The prices varied by $140. The company sold $190 million worth of drivers that quarter. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. The driver that exists inside your bag right now, the one you're considering replacing, is probably capable of producing your maximum distance. The variable that changes your score is not the club head. It is the shaft flex, the lie angle, the swing path. and the strike location. Those variables are free, or at least cheaper than $600. A fitter can adjust your current driver's loft by 2 degrees, change the shaft to something that fits your tempo, and deliver a performance improvement that dwarfs any year-over-year model change. But that doesn't sell new clubs. The industry has built a system where the driver is the hero of the narrative. The shaft is the accessory. The swing is invisible. Every launch video centers on the club head, the face, the crown, the weight track, because that is the part they can patent, the part they can change annually, and the part you can hold in your hands and feel like you own something new. If you've ever looked at the launch monitor after a fitting and seen that a different shaft added 10 yards while a new driver body added 2, you already know which component matters. You just didn't want to admit it. That realization is the point of no return. Subscribe now so you never walk into a fitting without this framework in your head, because the next video shows you exactly how to negotiate with the fitter to get maximum performance for minimum spend. And in the comments, write the difference you saw between shaft performance and head performance during your last fitting. Numbers are better than stories. Let's build a data set that beats any manufacturer's marketing deck. Here's the closing beat. Walk into your garage or spare room. Find the driver you replaced when you bought this one. Look at the serial number on the hosel. Then look at the face. Compare it to the club you just bought side by side. The shape is essentially the same. The weight distribution is essentially the same. The face is a few tenths of a millimeter different, which amounts to a difference in performance that is real but invisible to your swing unless your name is Colin Morikawa. The machine is not designed to make you better. It is designed to make you feel like the next version will be the one that finally works. The driver you already own, the one you're holding right now, may already be the best driver you'll ever own. The only question is whether you'll let the industry convince you otherwise. And if you've ever bought a new driver and felt, within 3 rounds, that something felt off, that the same shots didn't carry as far, or that the forgiveness didn't match the promises, comment the word cycle. Let me know how many times you've been through this. Because the sooner you see the pattern, the harder it becomes to sell you the next version of the same club. If this resonates with you, there's a lot more where this came from. Link in the description. Drop the word cycle in the comments if you've already recognized the pattern in your own bag. And if you want to be the first to see the next breakdown on shaft marketing myths, subscribe, because the system doesn't stop with the driver head. The industry doesn't need you to play better. It needs you to feel like better is always one purchase away. That feeling is the product. The driver is just the container. Every launch event, every most forgiving ever tagline, every tour player testimonial. They are all calibrated to produce one response in your brain. Next time. Next time will be different. Next time will be the one. Next time I'll finally break 80. But next time never arrives, because next time is always next year. Look back at your last 3 driver purchases. Write down the model years. Then write down your scores from the 3 rounds immediately following each purchase. You will likely see no correlation. You may even see a regression, the unfamiliar weight, the slightly different shaft flex, the new feel that takes 3 rounds to adjust to. The purchase itself introduced a performance penalty, not a gain. That's not a coincidence. That's the cost of entering the cycle. The smartest money in golf does not chase the new model. It chases the one that fits. It buys last year's flagship after the price drop, gets a fitting, and spends the saved money on range time, lessons, or a weekend trip to a course they've never played. That golfer will beat the new driver buyer on the scorecard 9 times out of 10, and they will spend less than half the money doing it. So the next time you open that glossy brochure, or watch that launch video, or feel your finger hover over the pre-order button, pause. Ask yourself one question. Does this club make me better, or does it make the industry richer? The answer is already written in the patent filings, the depreciation curve, the sound frequency, and the serial number on the club you already own. The only variable is whether you choose to read it.